welcome to episode 35 of Scar Bears. I'm Chris D.T. Gordon. It is fantastic to have you here with me today, the last week of 2020. We made it, folks. Woohoo! The finish line is there, and hopefully we don't trip. Well, Nate Barron and Britton Barron, thank you so much for your continued efforts with the music and the post-production. If you want to reach out to either or both Nate and Britton, you can find them at Nate Barron. Well, today I have my friend Gloria Hass, who is here with me to talk about her own journey. We on Scar Bears have our trials and tribulations, and while mine ended about 5 years ago, Gloria's is continuing on. And so, Gloria, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good today. I'm having a very good day. Thank you.
Excellent. Oh, it's my pleasure entirely having you here. And like I said, while my bout with necrotizing fasciitis ended about 5 years ago in the hospital, you are still dealing with your predicament every day, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Yes, and so how has that guided your life in both your personal life and your professional life?
Well, it all came to a screeching halt February 10th of 2020, when I had been under a lot of stress. I ended up having to get a restraining order on somebody where I lived because they were harassing me. They wouldn't take no, I won't date you for, an answer.
Yep.
Kept really bad emails, knocking on my door, sending me love letters, text messages, and it was getting way out of hand. So I got the restraining order on him.
And we should be clear, I'm sorry, it was not me. Just to let people know, this is not me we're talking about. So I apologize for any confusion, but.
I'm glad it wasn't you. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
It would be very awkward. So I'm sorry. Sorry, Gloria, go ahead and continue, please.
That's okay. So he was having people ganging up on me who lived in a community, a senior community center, and you wouldn't have been there anyway because you're not of age. And so anyway, 5 people a day harassing me and hounding me to drop the restraining order. And it was just so much stress. My brain literally checked out. And I was walking, 1 to 2 miles a day.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't needing to use a cane or a walker. And I was doing, for me, I was doing a 16-minute mile, which is moving it, especially with fibromyalgia.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just booking, and I was having a really good time with it. But then when I landed on the sidewalk, hit my chin right here, had a nice, big, huge bruise. It still has a knot on there. It's a little sensitive, but only if I touch it.
Yeah.
But what had happened was I just went boom, and this guy came from across the street, and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I motioned, "Come forward." He went to lift me up. I said, "Wait a minute. Let me get my bearings." And I stood up as if nothing happened. I said, "Thank you." He goes, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah, I feel fine, except my knee hurt because I scraped it on the sidewalk. And, my chest was a little sore." So I pick up the phone. I'm calling my girlfriend. And she said, "What are you doing calling me if you hit your head and should be calling 911? I said, "Well, I'm in Central East Tucson. I don't like the hospitals in that area." She goes, "Get off the phone and just go to a hospital." So I called my other girlfriend and I said, I hit my head and I went boom. So she met me at the downtown train at the bus stop, and we went in, and my right hand and wrist ended up hurting, and I severely sprained it. I could not open my hand up all the way because it hit the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was mostly soft tissue that hurt. So I put ice on my knee, went to the hospital. Nothing was broken, did not have a stroke, no aneurysms, nothing showed up. And MRI, I had a CT scan and everything was fine. Didn't show any damage. Well, 7 days later, I started having headaches. Well, within 24 hours, I could open my hand without pain because it was literally on ice most of the night.
Mm-hmm.
And I could walk, but still had to limp. And then about 10 days later, I called was having blood going down the back of my throat, went to urgent care. They did not treat me for what I had to, called in to see the on-staff doctor where my nurse practitioner was. She said, you have a concussion. You are to do no activity of any kind. Well, then within another 5 to 7 days, I had to start using my walker, and I could hardly even walk 1/10 of a mile to walk my dog.
Mm.
My whole, what they call the vestibular system, was completely off. And it took me 3 months for the insurance to approve for me to get evaluated, because the place that would do the evaluation was out of network and they only had certain codes. So here we are. And I'm like, wait a minute. And they're telling me just rest your brain. So I go online and I join a group for traumatic brain injuries because I had the symptoms, and they were telling me what I needed to do to get my neurons firing. So I got on my phone, went on Google. I had gotten an app for crosswords, but it had at the bottom a circle of letters. I could not even recognize 90% of the words.
Oh.
And there were things you could do to get hints. I didn't even know what the word rely meant. And I just, it was interesting. That's a 4-letter word. I could mostly knew what 2- and 3-letter words were. And once I was finally evaluated down the road, we found out I went from an adult reading level down to a 2nd grade reading level.
Oh, wow.
I had difficulty talking and speaking, and in 6 weeks with getting my brain back in the program, and I couldn't, if I overstimulated it, I would get migraine type headaches. And I was getting like 4 or 5 a day, which is normal with a head injury. Mm-hmm. Well, finally, it took 6 weeks for me to talk as well as I'm talking now, instead of like this, seeking for words.
Yeah.
And it took me 4 months. I could only do audiobooks. I'm still not released to read books because I get migraine type headaches really bad. It overstimulates my brain. So it took 7 months for me to be able to use a computer again. And then to remember how to use it, I had to go back through the process, and the memories started coming back. But with the firing of the neurons, I found out that with the brain damage, the brain automatically starts building new neural pathways. And since I had already been studying about neuroplasticity, my prefrontal cortex had already changed. So it was picking up on changing and adapting. And I started using tapping EFT for accelerating, but it hurt. It made my whole brain hurt from the activity.
Now, I have a quick question, Gloria. You said that reading hurts, would cause those migraines if you read for too long. What about using the computer or looking at a screen? Did that cause any migraines from prolonged use?
I could only use it 10 minutes at a time, and then I couldn't use it for 3 hours. Okay. And then I'm able now to be able to build up to a half an hour. Then I would need a break. And sometimes, like today, I can do an hour. But today my brain was overstimulated from phone calls to where I had to turn off all the lights and just sit in a dark room, no sensation, no sound, no stimulation, just so my brain could calm down and relax. And I still have to do that.
If you could do me one favor at some point when you do that, if you could play some Simon and Garfunkel, that would be really cool. Hello, darkness, my old friend. That would be humming that when you do it the next time.
I will try to remember to do that.
You'll start doing it like, hello, darkness, my old, oh, stupid Chris. Oh.
You're not my friend right now, headache.
Yeah. I curse your name in my silence. So
No, I don't do curses.
well, good. So anyway, I'm sorry for the interruption again. So
That's okay.
if you worked at your way up to about an hour, you said, for screen time.
Right.
So where are you at now in other facets of your life?
Well, I can walk 6/10 of a mile with my walker, and most days my balance is really good. And I just have to pace a lot of things. I've listened to audiobooks, and I went from when they told me to start at a second grade reading level, it was okay. And then it got boring, and third grade and fourth grade reading level was horrible. So I took the audiobooks, adult audiobooks, and I listened to them for 5 minutes. But there are times where I still don't understand English because my brain isn't processing the language. Somebody can be talking on the phone. I'll say, I'm sorry, or like we are, I'll say, I'm sorry, I don't understand you, because my brain is just not processing the language at all. And it sounds like a, you know how when we were, well, I know when I was a kid, we had the cassette tapes.
Yeah, I remember cassette tapes.
Yes, and you could fast forward them and they go,
Yep.
That's what I hear in my head when somebody talks and my brain's not
Oh, wow.
processing.
Okay.
So I still have that every once in a while. I'm not functional enough to be able to work. And I do my own online business, but I can pace that. I can do that at my own pace. I can, well, before I could not listen to the news without getting depressed. Well, now I cannot have hardly any negativity, because the MRI showed that I have global brain damage over my entire brain. And it was in every area and lobe, and even including my brain stem. And the brain stem regulates sleep, and it also regulates heartbeat. And I have a lot of heart irregularities because of that. So I just have to be really careful about how much negativity I hear. I couldn't even listen to the election after 10 minutes because it was just too much. And it was just making everything just sound like it was echoing in my head from the stress. So I have to stay in a calm, stress-free environment as much as I can.
Yeah,
And
I wish a lot of people would choose that route, frankly, especially those in the media or on the news. So but no, it's unfortunate that I mean that avoiding negativity is a health issue for you.
right. And also I am able to watch TV and no more than 2 hours. When they have the commercials on, I close my eyes and I mute it. And if I miss a few minutes of the program, I miss a few minutes of a program. But I wasn't, now this is weird because before my head injury, I didn't like TV. And now it's like, wow, this is cool.
Give me more, give me more.
Exactly. And it's just that I like my personality now. It was interesting because I was working on changing it to certain facets, and I would pray and say, God, I'm having a difficult time. Well, people, be careful what you pray for, because it could come back as a brain injury, traumatic brain injury, and you'll change your personality. It might end accepting where you are. And I had to go through therapy with a mental behavior therapist, and relearn how to be nice to people. I had to retrain my brain for that, retrain my brain to how to respond and have conversations. And it was interesting. I wanted to learn. So I was paired up with somebody who had worked with patients who had been in comas for 6 years, who had a brain injury because of that. So I was paired up with somebody who could really help me.
That's quite a gift, actually, to because I mean, did you find that you were able to help that person while they were helping you?
Yes, it's interesting because we had our last session today.
Oh, really?
Yes, and we were talking about some things, and I said yes, and I started telling her how I knew that it was funny because things just kicked in because of being in therapy off and on for years and reading a lot of personal development books, when I started listening more to personal development to retrain my brain, and it started picking up on what I had already knew, because there's a history there. And it's like, yeah, I had to reframe my brain and sit back and look at, okay, how much can I accept of this? How much can I not know? And she said, I was just given that information in a class, and here you're already ahead of me. So, it's really helpful, because I was helping her and she wanted to continue on. And I said, no, I'm ready to take my life back. I want my time back. I knew it was time to end for therapy and just move on.
Speaking of that, moving on and helping others, I know you do a lot of helping others online in various ways. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I have ministries on Instagram, and I ended up stopping the giveaways right now because of some financial concerns, because I'm helping other ministries that I've been helping in India and Africa with some things. So please don't ask me to send you money. I'm not going to do it. I already have my charities. Yeah, you're not going to get it. All right. Oh, Bangladesh is one that I just picked up through a license, through Friendship NGO.
All right.
And I also was doing Bible teachings online through Facebook Messenger and sending them in emails to places in Africa and India and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and the Philippines. But I've had to cut back on a lot of that, to saying no, because it's just too much. But I do that, and I also do prophetic readings for people. I'm not a psychic. I don't use tarot cards. That's witchcraft. It's people that I have been able to talk to who have been into seeking out mediums and everything else, that I'm able to get them, after we have a session, get them back on track with God and the way God wants them to do things. So I do the spiritual readings and getting people on track that way and helping them have better, productive lives.
That's excellent. I think we all feel sometimes alone, given our circumstances. And it's always nice to know that we have people that, maybe a little ahead of us, that can help, that can get us on the right path and help us move forward. And so what are you looking forward to doing now? I mean, are there any goals that you're setting for these current ministries that you're doing?
Well, what I am, excuse me, what I am looking at doing is I'm going to be taking it a little bit easy through the holidays, because I need a little bit of downtime. I have my podcast on Mondays with Gloria. And yes, Chris is a guest on one of them. So I will also be, doing that. It's a little more like a talk show format with people learning different things. And I'm going to have an aging athlete on to let people know how it was to age and accept that his body was slowing down. It's about mindset. So it's still helping people through that format. I'm having a young girl on who is a young lady who needed to raise money to go on a trip. And she talks about how she started her own business.
Oh, wow.
And I know. So it's really that way I'm helping people. And also I'm having a fitness trainer come on and talk about how the bodybuilding industry is not healthy mentally or physically. And I used to be a bodybuilder 30
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great.
Yes. I had a hard body. Bad.
I'm sure if we look at that sidewalk, there's a big old crater where your chin hit, because it just can't take the impact, right?
Actually, because of my thyroid, I know there was, I don't know, I didn't look, but actually I had a hard time because of my thyroid being underactive, maintaining weight. I would have rapid weight gains. Since brain damage, I can maintain my weight. It'll pop up and down within 3 pounds, and that's it. So there is a blessing with brain injuries.
People say bad things about the monkey's paw, but there's two sides to every coin. So
That's right. I'm looking
yeah,
at the blessings from all of this.
there you go. Always look on the bright, And so I don't want to get nailed by copyright. I guess we already sung Simon Garfunkel one time, so I guess another song isn't bad. So Gloria, is there any message that you want to leave with someone listening to this podcast? Any kind of motivation or inspiration you want to offer them right now?
You had said that it's nice to know that we're not alone. We aren't. And we make our own worlds mentally. We create what we live in. And there's some people with mental illnesses that have a difficult time breaking out of that. And I understand it. But because people are saying they're depressed because of COVID, they did a lot of eating. We have control over what goes in our mouth, what we see with our eyes, and what comes out of our mouth is what we feed into it. So we just need to be careful because times are getting crazier. They're going to get worse. We just stay off of social media life. You're getting a lot of negativity. Don't read the news. Go take a walk out in nature. I have a challenge for everybody for the next 30 days. When you go out on a walk, all you can do is, you can't think any negative thoughts. You can only say you are thankful you're thankful that you can walk. You're thankful you can talk. You're thankful you can dress yourself. That's what I want you to do the entire time. Start at 10 minutes, work up to an hour. And if you find yourself thinking negative thoughts because somebody has hurt you, walk in your house or go back outside and walk and do another gratitude walk. And you'll be amazed how you can turn your whole life around with what Chris calls an attitude of gratitude.
Well, thanks for the plug there. And yes, and we find that when we look at not only the big things in our lives, but the small things, the seemingly insignificant parts of our lives that bring us joy or make our lives just a little bit easier, that those are things we can be thankful for. And there are multitudes of them all around us that we take for granted. And so, yeah, like I said, like Gloria said, count those as part of your blessings.
Yes, if you can feed yourself, if you can drink your own water, even if you have someone who has to assist you, you can be thankful for that person who is giving you a service that they do. Can you hear the birds singing? You're thankful to hear that you hear birds singing or dogs barking.
Exactly. And so if people wanted to seek you out, Gloria, where could they find you?
On Instagram, you can find me at GH Ministries and the number 1, or my other Instagram is gloria.hass, Hass. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/user/Gloria Hass, all one word.
Excellent. And my final question is something my audience always loves to learn. What is your favorite dinosaur?
I've been waiting for this question. It's lamb chop.
Okay, I've done some research in my time on this planet. I don't find any pictures anywhere of sheep in the Jurassic period. Well, what are you talking about, lamb chop?
Jerry Lewis, puppet.
Yes, I know Sherry Lewis. I used to work at a PBS station. So yes, but if you want to use lamb chop, you go right on ahead.
Okay, we'll do Dino the dinosaur from the Flintstones. Is that better?
That's better. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All
right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us today. If you wish to reach out to see what I'm up to, you can find me on Linktree at linktr.ee/Chris DT Gordon. You can find my Speaker Hub website, my personal website, chrisdtgordon.com, my YouTube and podcast channels, and some other things there. So I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you very much for joining me. Please have a great day, and remember to pass on perfection and go for greatness.